My name is Dr. Bella de Brera, and I'm here in Ballarat to explore the important link between events that took place over 160 years ago and the fact that we have the right to choose who governs us. In 1854, large crowds of angry gold miners met on the goldfields of Ballarat to protest the fact that the government was forcing them to buy expensive gold mining licenses. The license cost about £8 per year, which is nearly $700 today. This license was hated by the diggers because they thought of it as a tax to be paid, regardless of their success or failure on the goldfields. The license checks had also become more of a hunt than a check. The gold commissioners, along with the police, would patrol the goldfields, arbitrarily arresting and fining the unfortunate miners who couldn't produce a license on the spot. In November 1854, more than 10,000 disgruntled gold miners met opposite the government's base at a place called Bakery Hill to protest about the injustice. But something else happened after that meeting. Here, not far from Bakery Hill, stood the Star Hotel, where a group of miners met to discuss how to end the license. They not only sought an end to corruption, but they wanted political reform. They called themselves the Ballarat Reform League, and they wanted to be heard. In that meeting, they came up with 5 demands. Equal representation in Parliament for all electors, meaning that all citizens should have a voice in government. Votes for all men. Women didn't get the vote in Australia until the federal election of 1902. To be a member of the Legislative Council, you don't need to own property, allowing those who are without to be able to be part of the governance of their society. Members of Parliament should get paid, so that rich and poor would have equal rights to participate in government. Regular elections, making sure that members of Parliament would be answerable to the people. These demands were not new, but were modelled on the ideas of a 19th century radical British reform movement called Chartism. The Chartists' main goal was to make government properly representative and accountable to the people. In Britain during this time, only 1 in 5 adult males was allowed to vote, from a total population, including women and children, of some 14 million. This was just 5.8% of the total population. There was no proper representation. In some cases, entire towns didn't have members of Parliament to represent their interests. There was no secret ballot, which meant that it was very easy to bribe or intimidate voters. In 1838, they'd put their demands in a manifesto called the People's Charter. These radical demands were transplanted from Britain straight onto the goldfields of Ballarat. Instead of listening to what the miners wanted, the new governor, Governor Hotham, sent in more troops to Ballarat, as he saw the unrest on the goldfields as a threat to government. In November, the miners held another mass meeting, defiantly setting fire to their hated licenses. And in anticipation of trouble, they built a rough stockade on this very spot. Inside the rough stockade, the miners took an oath to defend their rights and liberties. On the morning of the 3rd of December, 300 troops attacked the stockade. A total of 5 soldiers and 22 miners were killed in just 20 minutes. After the Eureka Rebellion, a Goldfields Royal Commission was set up. This led to reform of the laws, and the commission gave the miners nearly everything they'd asked for. The gold licence was abolished and replaced by a miner's right, costing just £1 per year, which is only $80 today. This was a tax cut. This meant that miners had the right to mine for gold and to vote in parliamentary elections. As early as 1858, all men in the colony were able to vote in elections. Remarkably, it would not be until 60 years later that all men in Britain got the vote. Australia's democracy is one of our most precious institutions, and it was the ideas of the British Chartists, imported by the Ballarat Reform League, that makes Australia's democracy what it is today. For more videos in the rest of this series, please visit our website at ipa.org.au/Heritage of Our Freedoms.